Welcome to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl. Today I'm doing the Oh, the Places You'll Go book tag. I was tagged by Victoria at a musical bookworm, and this was created by Gareth from Books, Songs, and Other Magic. So it has different prompts, and there's one life question and one book question. So prompt number 1, which direction you choose. What's the first place you go to in a bookstore? It depends, but I tend to go to the children's section, or if there's like a Christian fiction section first, unless there is something I'm going there in particular for, and then I'll just go to wherever that is. And then in life, what is the biggest life decision you've made that has impacted your life? I would say there's 3. Well, actually, I'd say there's 4. Obviously, the leaving the Mormon church, that has impacted my life like crazy. 2, I think, was starting to homeschool, because we haven't homeschooled our daughter's entire educations. And then I would say deciding to get married and have kids. So those are the biggest decisions I've made. Number 2, too smart to go down any not so good street. What did you used to read that you don't read anymore? There really isn't any genre that I used to read that I don't read anymore. I've pretty much read widely and all genres for the most part, most of my life. And the ones that I don't really read, like erotica, never have been into. So I don't read Mormon books anymore, Mormon theology books, or a lot of the authors, like Proper Romance and stuff, those are all Mormon people. Shadow Mountain, it's all Mormon authors. And those ones don't have the stuff in them. Then there's the other authors here in Utah that have the Mormon theology in their books that are like those ones, but have a lot of Mormonism in. I don't read those anymore. So that's probably the best answer. And then what have you learned either as a hobby or in education that you value the most? That is a really hard question. You can tell I didn't think too much about my answers before I started recording. I think that the thing that I have learned that I have valued the most is that I can learn whatever I want to learn, to keep learning, I guess. How to learn. Learning how to learn. That has been the most valuable thing for me. Number 3, you'll be seeing great sights. Pick a book with an attractive cover. There's so many books that have attractive covers, but the first one I thought of was this one, this Anne of Green Gables. I have lots of editions of Anne of Green Gables, but this one in particular, because I think it's such a beautiful cover. But then it also has my 2 favorite colors, yellow and green. What is the most beautiful place that you've ever visited? That has a few answers. I would say for me personally, what I find beautiful is water, lots of green, lots of trees, and occasionally mountains, but it depends on the mountains. There were so many places in England. When my mom and I were driving down the road there, and we were just looking around going, this is so beautiful. But the Lake District in particular, it was a different kind of beauty than what I'm used to, what I've seen before. Prince Edward Island in Canada, and then also the Lake Louise, like Banff and Jasper area of Canada. I would say that probably those are the places that I think of when I think of the most beautiful areas I've ever been to. Number 4, you'll be best of the best. What do you feel confident that you know a lot about with regard to books? I don't know. I think that I feel like I know a lot about books in general. Since I do read pretty widely, I have a good feel for the different genres and different authors, and I feel pretty confident that I read a lot. I don't know. That's a hard one. I think maybe symbology that shows up in books. I'm pretty good at picking up that kind of stuff. I've gotten better at that because of taking, classes where they talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. That's a really hard one. And then in life, what would be your specialist subject on Mastermind? I don't know what Mastermind is, so I'm not sure how to answer that, but I'm guessing it's something, maybe a show or a game or something that you are a specialist in something. I don't feel like I am a 100% expert in anything. I do feel like I know a lot about Harry Potter. I feel like I know a lot about Lucy Maud Montgomery and Anne of Green Gables. I feel like I know a lot about history. I don't know what my expertise would be. I know a lot about Mormonism, having left the religion. I feel like I could answer most questions about that if they'd stop changing what they tell people. That would probably be the answer, because I do talk a lot about Mormon history and theology, and that's something I feel like I am very well versed in. Number 5, except when you don't. What kind of books do you feel that you don't relate to? This is in movies and stuff too, but with modern books that are contemporary, where people swear so much, they say the F word so much, and that seems to be like a common thing I'm seeing online and everything. I don't relate to that, because to me, it doesn't make sense to swear that much. I can't relate to a world where people swear constantly. What is something you've stopped doing or that you've given up on? These kind of questions, it all ends up having to go back to faith, because it was such a big change. And it's something that I think unless you've left a religion, you don't understand how big of a part of it, your life, how big of a part of your life that is. So that's when I think of that, that's immediately what I think of, is just like, well, I stopped doing all those Mormon things. I've stopped going to Mormon things. I don't know what else that would be. Number 6, The Waiting Place. Name a book you're excited to read that's on your TBR. This also is going to be related to Mormonism. Unfortunately, I don't plan this. I don't try to. The Riders of the Purple Sage by Zane Grey. I just barely heard of this book and I did not know it even existed. And this is an old classic Western, and it very much has to do with Mormonism. And I am very excited to read this. What in general are you looking forward to the most this year? Well, this summer, Doug is making me go on a solo writing retreat, while he has a growth week with my daughters where they have to do everything for themselves for a week. It's not going to be quite a week, but while he's making them do that, he wanted me to be gone so that they could not rely on me doing stuff. Thought it would be a good idea for me to go do that writing, since I'm trying to finish up a book. So I get to go on a solo writing trip, and I am very excited about that. Number 7, balancing act. Talk about balancing your time between general life and putting out content on BookTube. I think I do pretty well at that. I feel like at the beginning I was putting out a lot more content than I am now. And so I did have to look at myself last year and just say, how much do I really want to put out? And there are times when I put out more and sometimes when I put out less. I think for me, it's just become a not so much worrying about what I have to put out, but do I want to? And if I don't want to, I'm not going to. And if I want to, I'm going to. And so that's what it's just become. And making sure that YouTube, books, anything never comes before the most important things in my life. That was a little bit harder of one. That was a little bit harder. If you, I was going to tag some people, but I don't think I'm going to tag anybody. But if you feel like doing this one, I do recommend looking at the questions more in depth first and thinking about them more, because I feel like I didn't answer some of those very well.